This lawyer explains an old US law that says the US could cut funding from the UN if the Palestinian Liberation Organization is given the same standing as member states.
In the last few weeks, there has been tremendous progress to recognize Palestinian statehood. The UN General Assembly overwhelmingly supported Palestine's bid to become a full UN member. And this week, Ireland, Norway, and Spain announced that they will formally recognize a Palestinian state by the end of the month. Of course, the vast majority of the world already recognizes Palestine, including almost all of the global south. Despite the growing momentum to recognize Palestinian statehood, the United States has consistently vetoed Palestine's bid at the UN Security Council, a crucial step in the process. On top of this, the United States is repeatedly threatening to defund the UN if Palestine becomes recognized as a state. Earlier this week, the U.S. Secretary of State reportedly told Arab American leaders that if Palestine becomes a state, the U.S. will cut funding to UN agencies, such as the World Food Program, threatening to contribute to global starvation. While funding UN agencies is voluntary, it is very problematic that the U.S. decision to defund only happens if Palestinian statehood is advanced at the UN. A U.S. law from the 1990s states that the U.S. may not provide funds for the UN or any of its agencies which equate Palestine with the same standing as member states. This is why the U.S. defunded UNESCO, the UN cultural agency, in 2011, after it voted to grant Palestinians full membership. The U.S. ended up leaving UNESCO until 2023, when it finally rejoined and agreed to pay more than $600 million in dues. Another law from 1995 requires the U.S. to move its embassy to Jerusalem. For decades, U.S. presidents had signed waivers for this law because of Jerusalem's disputed status under international law. This was until 2018, when then U.S. President Donald Trump broke with decades of U.S. policy and international consensus on Israel's ongoing illegal occupation of Palestinian land by moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. The Biden administration is now moving ahead with plans to build a permanent embassy in Jerusalem. Laws written over 30 years ago in the context of the Oslo Accords are being used to dictate current policies. Laws supposedly designed to mediate solutions are instead being used to advance U.S. interests by strong-arming the international community through continued threats towards the UN and its programs.